Here's a quadratic question with a twist. Notice you have three terms, but the first term is to the fourth power and the second term is to the second power. What this tells me is a couple of things. One, I'm probably going to do quadratics, but it's going to be a little tougher than normal, and I'm going to get this down so I can show it to you in a much more detailed form. It also tells me that since it's the fourth power, there are going to be four parentheses. There are going to be four potential solutions to this. And the question asks for the sum of the positive ones. That's a very specific request. We're not looking at all the solutions. We're just talking about the positive ones. That makes me think there's at least two that are positive, and I know from the fourth power there have to be four parentheses. But I'm going to do this in sets of two. So let's talk about the first thing that you can break down, x squared and x squared. If you were to FOIL that, you'd get x to the fourth, so that makes sense for the first term. This plus 9 at the end and this minus 10 squared in the middle tells me that the two terms have to be negative, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and when you add those two negatives together, you'll get minus 10. So now the question is, what two numbers do I put in? It's either 1 and 9 or it's 3 and 3. 3 and 3 won't give me the 10 I'm looking for, so it's got to be 1 and it's got to be 9. And if you FOIL that through, you'll get that exact same thing you're starting with. So now you've got these two pieces that you have to break down. Notice it's x squared minus a perfect square. That's one of the classic quadratics you learned in the mini clinics. So I'm going to break each of these parentheses down into two pieces. You've got x plus 1, x minus 1, and you've got x plus 3, x minus 3. So these are the four parentheses that the original clue told us about, and now we got to figure out the solutions. The solutions would be minus 1, plus 1, minus 3, and plus 3. But we don't want all the solutions, we just want the positive ones. If you take the positive solutions, 1 and 3, and add them together, you'll get 4. And that's answer choice C. Now imagine you did all this great work, but you didn't pay attention to the positive part. If you added up all the solutions, you'd get 0. Now that answer should make you suspicious because it's an oddball, and the Empower mini clinic for triage will tip you off to how to spot that. But even if you want to pick the oddball, you got to step back and say, whoa, wait a second, maybe I'm making a mistake. The oddball is almost always wrong, so be mindful of that tactic. It could save you from making one or two silly mistakes on test day. As it stands, this is a tougher quadratic than normal, but it's based on the same standard quadratic skills you'd use on mid-level questions. So you can't really consider this advanced. It's just a couple of extra steps. Be mindful of that in the big categories. As you do better and better in the quant, you're going to see quirkier versions of rules that you already know.